Johannes Gutenberg, the man who started the mass distribution of knowledge and the spread of ideas that the everyday man could read and afford. The Renaissance, or rebirth, was the rebound from the Dark Ages, where nothing was achieved. After a long time in the Dark Ages, the Western world needed a push. Scientists, artists, philosophers, and writers alike all worked to improve the world, but none could share their ideas quickly and effectively. Only rich people could afford books or school, and books took ages to print. While information was being spread, it was not being spread fast enough to help everyone at the time period. Then a revolutionary idea came to Gutenberg's mind to help the artists, philosophers, writers, scientists, and other researchers spread their ideas faster to a broader audience. Gutenberg's idea was a printing press. Thanks to the printing press, and while Gutenberg was not directly involved in the arts, the world was changed forever. Ideas and beliefs were spread throughout Europe like wildfire. Writers, mathematicians, scientists, and other researchers all should give thanks to Gutenberg, for he is the one that led to their fame and spread of ideas. In fact, books were so common that people carried them in pockets and read them in streets, at home, and during work times. The printing press even led to monks stopping their copying of the Bible in some areas, because the wait for a Bible printed by a monk was decades. Meanwhile, it took one day to make a Bible with the press, which led to much cheaper and easily available access to knowledge that the everyday person could afford. If it weren't for Gutenberg, all the famous innovators like Martin Luther, Leonardo da Vinci, or Galileo would have their work left in the hands of the rich only, and the vast majority of people would be left unknowing of the advancements in the world around them. Accomplishments of Johannes Gutenberg include the spread of humanism from Italy to the rest of Europe, which is attributed to one special invention, the printing press. Johannes Gutenberg invented the press, which is credited by many historians to be the single most important factor in the spread of knowledge and ideas in the Reformation era of Europe. Johannes began to see books small enough to fit in a pocket being carried around in the streets, a drastic change from before, where only the rich carried books. Now books were available to everyone. The extent of Gutenberg's invention were immeasurable, and at the end of the 16th century, half of the population of London could read. Shopkeepers and craftsmen adopted literacy to help run a business and keep records. Eventually, guilds, organizations, and trade companies required that all their members be able to read and write. Elementary schools and other formal forms of education began to sprout in Europe. People learned to read, write, do arithmetic, learn history, geography, religion, and philosophy, all because of the printing press. Leonardo da Vinci did not have much to say of new or lasting importance when it came to chemistry, medicine, sociology, astronomy, mathematics, or physics either, as one might think for an individual of his level of superstardom. He left no thesis and had no new concepts, equations, techniques, or groundbreaking theories to call its own that contributed to science, like Newton, Galileo, or Francis Bacon. Many say the Renaissance started after the Black Plague struck Europe from 1346 to 1353. People started living for the moment and enjoyed life instead of living to go to heaven. However, people still cared a lot about church. In fact, the church became even more corrupt than it was in the Middle Ages. People can now buy indulgences instead of earning them, which gave a major advantage to the nobles and higher classes. This sparked a movement led by Martin Luther called the Lutheran movement. This gave less power to the church and more to kings and princes. The Renaissance also brought new ideas in art, such as perspective or depth, secularism, when the art has nothing to do with a religion, classicism, when the art features ancient figures, individualism, when the art focuses on an individual, and symmetry, when the art is the same on both sides. People began writing stories and offered new ideas of religion other than Catholicism. People began questioning the church and everything they were told about the world around them. The scientific method was introduced, which sprouted new discoveries. Both scientific and medical advancements were made. However, none of these ideas would have been spread without the invention of Gutenberg's printing press. The printing press allowed people all over Europe to know within a few days of a movement starting or a new discovery being made.